Hi friends, my name is Josie. I'm a librarian with Deschutes Public Library, and today we're looking at the book Space Case by Stuart Gibbs. This is a fabulous book that is part of the Oregon Battle of the Books titles for the 2021 school year. So I'm just going to go ahead and read a little bit of this book to see if maybe we can get interested in it, and you'll want to go ahead and read it on your own. Normally I do these segments with an electronic book, so you can read along with me if you'd like, but today I have an actual paper book, so I'm going to go ahead and read that. So you'll have to picture a lot of the stuff in your head instead of reading along with me. Now this book starts with a pretty intense map. So you can see that a little bit at home. You don't need that for the part that we read. Once you get the book yourself, you will be able to see it all close up. But I just wanted you to know that it did start with a map, because a lot of books, it's really important if there's a map involved. So that is the map of Moon Base Alpha, it says. There's also a cast list in this book. So if you want to go back and remember who's who, which family was part of which residence and all that good stuff, that'll be in the book that you eventually read on your own, whether you get the electronic version or the paper version. So we're going to go ahead and look at Space Case by Stuart Gibbs and read maybe the first chapter or so. So this book starts out with an advertisement. It actually says it's the excerpt from the official residence guide to Moon Base Alpha, copyright 2024 by National Aeronautics and Space Administration. That's NASA. Welcome to Moon Base Alpha! Congratulations on your selection as a resident of the first permanent extraterrestrial human habitat. To ease your transition from Earth, Moon Base Alpha, referred to from here on as MBA, has been designed to feel as comfortable and familiar as any resident on our home planet. Our engineers and designers have spared no expense to provide all MBA residents, or lunar knots, with everything they need for a relaxing, pleasurable existence. However, life on the moon will not be without its challenges. There are obviously many differences between this residence and the one on Earth, many of which you may be pleasantly surprised by. To that end, please take the necessary time to read this helpful, informative manual in its entirety, as it will likely answer any questions you have about your new home, and perhaps a few questions you hadn't even thought to ask yet. Once again, congratulations on your selection. Welcome to the moon. Enjoy your new home. Can you imagine moving to the moon, being one of the first people who got to live there? Would you go? I don't know. It's something we're thinking about. So we've got chapter 1, Evil Plumbing. That's a chapter title right there. Okay, Earth year 2041, Lunar Day 188, smack in the middle of the night. Let's get something straight right off the bat. Everything in the movies you have ever been taught about space travel is garbage. Giant spacecraft that are as comfortable as a floating cruise ship? Complete fantasy. Warp speed travel? Never gonna happen. Holodecks, terraforming, beaming up? Don't count on any of it. Life in outer space sucks. Trust me, I know. My name is Dashiell Gibson. I'm 12 years old and I live on the moon. On Moon Base Alpha, to be exact. You know this, of course. Everyone on Earth knows this, unless they've been living in the Amazon rainforest for the last few years. And since there's barely anything left of the Amazon rainforest, I'm guessing that's unlikely. Moon Base Alpha, along with everyone who lives on it, has been the subject of an absolutely staggering amount of hype. The first human outpost in space, the first people to live on the celestial body besides Earth, a glorious first step in mankind's ultimate colonization of the galaxy. The government fed my family all that baloney as well, back when they recruited my parents. And I admit, I completely fell for it. We all did. The recruiters made everything sound so amazing. Moon-based Alpha would have all the comforts of Earth and more. We'd go down in history as one of the first families to live in space. We'd be the newest breed of pioneers pushing the limits of human achievement. Like I said, garbage. Living in Moonbase Alpha is like living in a giant tin can built by government contractors. It's as comfortable as an oil refinery. You can't go outside. The food is horrible. It's always cold. And the toilets might as well be medieval torture devices. Ever notice how in all the science fiction movies and TV shows you've ever seen, Star Wars and Battlestar Galactica and all 142 versions of Star Trek, no one ever goes to the bathroom? That's not because in the future, everyone has figured out how to metabolize their own feces. It's because going to the bathroom in space is a complete pain in the butt, literally. At least the moon-based toilet is better than the one on the spaceship we took here. In zero gravity, you have to take extreme precautions to ensure that whatever comes out of your body doesn't fly up in your face. There's an old saying in zero-G space travel. If you ever see a piece of chocolate floating around the cabin, don't eat it. It's probably not chocolate. Ugh. However, using the toilet on Moonbase Alpha is no picnic. If I'd known how exceptionally complicated and disgusting it would be, I never would have agreed to leave Earth. It was because one of those evil toilets that I wound up involved in far more trouble and danger than I ever could have imagined. Maybe at the beginning of this, I should have said there might be some interesting language used. Sorry I didn't warn you. Sometimes it happens in books. Okay, back to the story. Now, before you get the idea that I'm some whiny, ungrateful kid who just likes to complain and wouldn't be happy anywhere, I'm not. Before my family made the awful decision to come live on the moon, I was happy as any kid you'd ever met. Happier, maybe. We lived on the big island of Hawaii, which was awesome. My mom worked at W.M. Keck Observatory, which runs the telescopes on the peak of Mauna Kea. Although the scopes are 13,000 feet up, they're managed remotely from the town of Waimea, which meant we could live down by the beach. So my childhood was pretty idyllic. I had lots of friends, I did well in school, and I played on every sports team. I surfed every weekend, and when I did, there were usually dolphins in the waves with me. Then the government came calling. See, my parents have a very unique set of skills. Mom is a lunar geologist who wrote some landmark papers about the moon and the consistency of its mantle and core. Dad is a mining engineer with a specialty in environmentally sound mineral extraction. And one of the major reasons for the moon base is to explore the possibility of mining precious metals there. Separately, Mom and Dad would have each been solid candidates for Moonbase Alpha. Together, they are an impossible combination to beat. Space is limited on the moon. With them, NASA got 2 scientists without having to send 2 separate families. So they wanted my folks badly, and we got the full court press. Politicians called us. The chairman of NASA came to visit. We were flown to Washington, D.C. first class for lunch with the vice president. And every last one of them lied to our faces about how great it would be to live on the moon. They made it sound like MBA was going to be incredible, like our lives there would be nonstop thrills and amazement. Imagine hearing that you've won a free 3-year stay in the most luxurious hotel in the most insane location imaginable. Oh, and you get to be famous too. Not flash in the pan, one-hit wonder reality TV famous. Have kids learn about you in school for 100 years from now famous. We were going to be lumped in with the greatest explorers of all time, maybe even score our own chapter in the history books. Columbus, Magellan, Neil Armstrong, the Harris-Gibson family of Moonbase Alpha. It all sounded too good to pass up, so we said yes. We spent the next year training, but then you know all that. All the families who were headed for MBA became celebrities right off the bat. NASA tried to get everyone to refer to us as lunar nauts, but the public ended up calling us Moonies instead. The whole world watched all of our preparations for life on the moon, our multiple aborted launch attempts, and finally our successful blast off into space and our triumphant arrival at our new home. And now that we're on the moon, millions of people are still following our lives via webcams and comlinks and beam feeds. And yet, despite all that, you Earthlings never get to see the whole story. Instead, you see an edited and sanitized version. There's too much at stake to allow anything else through. We Moonies are barred from broadcasting, texting, or transmitting anything to the public that might be detrimental to the success of Moon Base Alpha. And if we try, NASA has censors who will delete it before it goes public. We can't complain about the toilets or the food or the malfunctioning equipment. We can't mention that anything has ever gone wrong. And we have to constantly present a positive face to the public, even when there is nothing to be positive about, which is why no one on Earth has heard about the murder. Okay, how's that for a hook? Are you excited to read a little bit more about Space Case, a Moon-based alpha novel by Stuart Gibbs? As I mentioned, this is an OBOB title for the 2020-2021 school year. If it's after that, then go ahead and read it anyways, because it's a great book. And we already have more in this Moon-based alpha series. So you can start out with Space Case. I've just read the first 10 pages or so, but I hope you really get into it, and drop us a line at Deschutes Public Library if you love it, hate it, have a thought about it, or want to make any kind of comments. There's room here on just below to make a comment if you have something to say about it. Otherwise, contact us and we'd love to hear from you. Again, this was Space Case by Stuart Gibbs, and that was the first 10 pages or so. Enjoy the rest of the book and let us know what you think. Have an awesome day and see you next time.